I've got great news for you. We have found a really, really terrible red card that's been given, and we have the opportunity to make fun of it. And what better way to spend a day than that? Bad red card, we can make fun of it. Thank you very much. Now, if you're a fan of this particular club, then you might be in for, a change of tune, particularly about me, because the club that is getting screwed over here is none other than Rangers, a club that I actually have gone to war with at various points in the past. But I am proving to you that I don't hate any clubs. I just hate people that do things worthy of me hating them. Does that sound right? But no, Rangers is the club getting screwed here. They get absolutely, completely, and utterly screwed. But I do kind of understand why it happened. You be the judge. Obviously, you're going to watch this along too, and then you'll be able to pass that opinion on. So this is Dundee United and Rangers. This is a pretty good match in the Scottish League. Right now, if you look at the table, it's Celtic and then Rangers. Good little 10-point gap. Ange Postecoglou's remnants are still keeping Celtic way ahead of Rangers right now. But Dundee United's in third. They are the next best team, right? Aberdeen's the team that started this season with a ridiculously long unbeaten run. Ever since I made a video about them, I seemingly cursed them, so they're not even in third anymore. Dundee United is the team that's in third. So they have this big match. They actually take a lead, right? They take an early lead. Then we're going to hear from the manager later in this video of Rangers talking about how they didn't play particularly well early in the game, but they turned it around. They took a 3-1 result, tough away day. You're happy with the win. Final seconds of the match, and there's been something kind of brewing. Like the guy that ends up getting the red card is this guy, Diamande, right? Diamande plays for Rangers. And this is the sort of stuff that's happening. I mean, this is obviously from Rangers fan account, right? So they're going to point this stuff out. But I'm just illustrating it was a physical game. So Diamande receives the ball, gets kind of stomped, you see on the replay here, gets a cheeky little elbow kind of right in the back of the neck, the kind of the base of the head or whatever, right? There's clearly something going on here, right? And if you're a referee, you've got to notice this and hand out a yellow card or two to try and diffuse it. Because where this is going to fall onto, obviously, is the referee's decision-making skills. Eventually, I'm just saying that this was not an inaugural incident, right? And the game is basically over at the point in which the actual incident occurs. There's 5 minutes of stoppage time. We are actually past those 5 minutes of stoppage time when this play actually happens. Or like right as this decision is being made. It is quite literally right at the end of the game. The game is over because it's a multi-goal lead for Rangers. So it's just all of this stuff that's been bubbling up throughout the course of the game between Diamande and then a couple of guys on Dundee United. It boils over into this play right here. So Diamande tries to meg this guy, and then they have, a bit of an exchange, and then the guy actually just runs up to him and shoves him. Now I want you to watch this again. As Diamande is getting shoved away, his hand kind of flaps out to the side. So the guy kind of barrels into him and then runs over and shoves him, and Diamande he kind of falls over and his hand goes like that. Now, the good thing about this piece of footage is we are getting the perspective of the referee. We are seeing it from the exact angle that the referee is seeing this play. And so you can understand from this angle how there is some hand here. Right, there is some hand movement. Now, if I showed you this highlight, you would be thinking that the Dundee United player is the one that got the red card. That did not happen. This is not a double red situation. The Dundee United player, who very clearly was the antagonist, right, he was the provocateur in this situation, did not receive a red card. All right, but after witnessing this, Diamande is awarded a red card. Here, the referee takes a second, makes his decision, comes around, gives Diamande a red card, and he is absolutely stunned. And then he's shown off. Now, what happens after this is the VAR gets on the phone. The VAR gets on the phone and calls down to the referee. Hey there, Buster. We think you missed this decision. Now, of course, the VAR's instructions are to only do this if it's clear and obvious. So it's almost emasculating for the referee to get that call in the first place because it's questioning their decision. Right? The referee has a very good look at this. He has a very good look at this. Look at where he's standing when this happens. He's like 4 feet away looking directly at the play. And now you have VAR calling down saying, hey, buddy, think he got this one wrong. He goes over to the monitor, watches a bunch of the highlights, and upholds the decision, much to the surprise of the broadcasters. I think there might be a reason for this. I think based off of, I can't obviously show all of it to you, but based off of the broadcast footage that I saw watching kind of extended highlights here, this is the angle that he might have seen. It's the exact angle that maybe he had on the field where it looks like maybe Diamande kind of slaps this guy a little bit. Even with that, even with me trying to make all these excuses, it's pretty clear Diamande is not the antagonist here. And it's pretty clear that even if he does make any contact with that it's not any serious contact. Just from that angle. So even if that is the only angle that he has to work with on the field, that means that's the only angle VAR had to work with. Now, it shouldn't be the only angle because I have for you a different angle that shows you just how bad this red card really was. This is an angle from the side of this play. And when you watch this from the side, you realize that the arm was really flailing almost as a kind of get off me shove, and just like it is not an intentional strike of the face with any menace, with any real menace behind it at all. The guy's getting shoved multiple times, and then it is, if you see this footage first, which this is how it happened for me. I saw this footage first. If you see this footage first, it is mind-blowing that he's been given a red card. I get it from this angle. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe you think I'm crazy. But if this is the only angle that's available to everybody, you can't go around hitting people in the face. And it does kind of look like he hit somebody in the face. But the moment you see this from any other angle, it gives you a much better understanding of what actually happened. And the reason that Diamande and the rest of his teammates who had these sorts of angles on what was going on were so amazed. And there's no way, I'm sorry, there is absolutely no way that you can punish somebody just for this retaliation. Even if this is a red card in your mind for the slap, it's got to be a double red. Even if you think he actually slapped him, which he didn't. You think he was actually trying to strike his face with malice, which he wasn't. Even if all that's true, you have to give the other guy a red card who's clearly just trying to get a piece of Diamande. I mean, if we're talking about red cards making it safer to be on the field, a dude running up to a guy and doing that multiple times, like 1, 2, just going after the guy, and the game's over. So the only reason, this guy isn't doing this for any actual results-based competitive reason. He's just doing it because he doesn't like that Diamande is winning. And he ended up winning the battle here. And so he's just trying to out-physical him. He's been annoyed by him the whole time. They've been talking shit to each other the whole time, and he just starts to try and barrel him over. I actually thought about making this entire video, arguing in favor of this shoving not being a red card, only to reveal that the guy that got the red card was in fact the guy that was the shovey, the guy that got shoved away. But this is an absurd red card. Now, here's the manager after the match basically saying as much.
Card.
Yes. What do you think?
I saw it back now because I knew this question was coming. I totally don't understand. We're going to appeal it also as a club. The VR was clearly also in that opinion. Otherwise, they don't.
See, I love, this is kind of where I love the fact that everybody knows once the VAR calls down that, VAR doesn't think it's a red, and I don't think it's a red, so it's 2 against 1.
My opinion is clearly it's totally not a red card. If that's a red card, then every game there will be 3, 4, 5 red cards. And I think my player get attacked in that moment and get pushed. And he has a small reaction with his hand without even touching the opponent. So they can have both maximum yellow.
I agree. I'll cut him off there. I agree with the take, though, that if you're giving a red card for this, then every game will have multiple red cards. Every game that at least has a lot of intensity in it will have multiple red cards. I'm perfectly fine with just giving a yellow to the guy that did the shove, and then we just get on with it. I feel like that might have been the best way to handle this situation. It seems like maybe based off the physicality earlier in the match that a yellow card could have been there earlier, but this is a terrible look for the ref. You get called over to look at this and you still uphold the red. I tried to explain. I try to put myself in other people's shoes as much as I can, but this is just not a red card. It's just they're lucky this didn't have any actual effect on the match.